Hi everyone, thanks again for tuning into my channel. This is Spring Porter with Spring Solutions LLC. As promised, I'm continuing on with this series, Cliff Notes for the Lazy Asset Locator. This is video 3. In this video, I am covering the states of Massachusetts all the way down to New Jersey. If you're new to my channel, I'm providing you with the viewers that is, and I'm also going to be providing my students with a complete list of more attorneys for each district that you can reach out to that has their contact information on it. It's on a nice little chart for you. So, some mobile notaries in that state, and also some business banks that you could probably reach out to if you're in a specific state and you're not sure where to start. This is a place where you could start that has just general information for you to do further research on. So before I get into that list, please note that I am not an attorney. This information is not indicated as legal advice. If you're new to my channel, I was actually a paralegal, is how I fell into doing this. I was a paralegal for about 10 years. So I fell into it, but I'm not actually an attorney, just in case you're new and you're viewing for the first time. One of the questions that you should ask, and if you've seen these other videos before, you can just fast forward to the end because I'm just going to cover the same questions that you should ask an attorney. Always ask them, do they handle bankruptcy unclaimed funds? Especially if you're reaching out to a bankruptcy attorney and maybe you don't want to handle the paperwork, or maybe you're working in a district where you need an attorney to do it. Ask them point blank period. Do they do unclaimed funds? Have they filed the petitions for that before? Or are they just doing the bankruptcy petitions themselves, like the Chapter 13 and Chapter 7? That makes a big difference. Some attorneys, they don't do this full time. They do regular bankruptcy petitions and cases full time because that is their bread and butter. This is sort of the back end of it when things don't go well. So make sure you ask them that. Make sure you're asking what percent would they charge if they were to do this. Is it a flat rate? Is it a certain percent? Who's handling the paperwork, that type of thing. Do they want you to give them maybe more than one account or just start with one file? These are some of the questions that you want to ask when you're trying to build a relationship with them. Questions that you should ask the banks. Is there a monthly deposit or amount that you need to keep that business checking account open? Some do require that, some may not. Some it may be like a continuation, or on a continuum rather. They may have a lower business checking with a lower amount. They may have one in the middle, and they may have a higher one for like really large corporations. So you have to check and see. Some may not have that at all. Do they accept third-party checks? Again, I've mentioned that there are some districts that will only issue a check to you, and there are very few, by the way, that will issue you checks third-party where it will have your client's name on them. So you make sure that you're in a bank or you're with a bank that will allow you to still deposit them. Make sure they have a mobile app and things like that to make it easier for you. You may, as I mentioned before in the other video, maybe go to another bank where it's kind of like online. Where you don't maybe have to always go to a branch if it's like close enough, or maybe closer to the state line, or like in a neighboring state rather, and maybe they have an online bank that you could probably work. You don't necessarily always have to go into a branch if you don't want to, especially if they have a mobile app where you can just do this all online. So just keep that in mind too. That could be an option. Mobile notaries, the most important thing obviously for that is just the location, right? Just because they're in, the state of Indiana, it may not be in the state or the city that you need it. Their client may be further north or south. So you want to make sure you find out from the mobile notary, especially if they're mobile and they're like usually 24 hours that they're working, like how far will they be willing to go out and that type of thing. You may be able to ask them if they could mail the documents to you after your client notarizes them, because as I mentioned before, there's some clients that are really bad with paperwork and documents and getting things to you, and it's just a headache trying to get things back from them. So maybe that's something, maybe with an additional fee, that maybe the mobile notary can give you that document that you need, and they mail it to you directly. So I hope that this information is helpful. I'm going to go over to the chart right now and we'll take a look at that. Thanks for watching. Hi. All right, so here is the chart. And as you can see, just similar to the other ones, the left-hand side has the initial for the state that I'm giving you information on. Bankruptcy attorney is always listed first, business law attorney second, and this again is for the attorneys that should be able to do like incorporation documents for you. And then there's a third attorney, real estate. So if you're doing bankruptcy unclaimed funds in Massachusetts, maybe you'll reach out to this firm. If you're doing overages in Massachusetts, maybe you'll reach out to this one, or at least just to get some basic information. So that's the way it's listed. Attorneys are on the left. I have banking information for all of these banks, by the way, are in this particular state that deal with businesses. So I don't know where in the US you are. Maybe you want to consider reaching out to some of these banks. And as you can see, I always try to find the banks that are not just your typical Bank of America's or with SunTrust or BB&T. I think that's Truist now. There's like a new bank name. You know, these are like different community banks, and not all are credit unions either. So I'm giving you a lot more information here. And then this, again, the mobile notaries. So what my students will get is essentially just more information, information for the attorneys. I have the links that you can click on to for each attorney. I'll give you 2 of each, 2 bankruptcy, 2 business law attorneys, 2 real estate, and I'll give you 5 mobile notaries and 5 banks. So that's what the students are getting. All right, so, and again, it'll be on a nice chart for you to print or maybe save to your desktop if you're a student. So again, if you want to pause this right now, do a little screenshot or jot down the information that you need, you can do that now. I'll see you in the next video. Thanks for watching.